Hey, good morning, everybody. Hope you're having a good day. Welcome back to Daily Devotionals. Today we're in Mark chapter 11, kind of getting into Passion Week. Jesus is entering into Jerusalem, and today is a very popular story. So let's go ahead and get into that. Triumphal entry, first 11 verses deal with that in the book of Mark. And when they came nigh to Jerusalem unto Bethpage, for all you golfers out there, this is not Bethpage Black, and Bethany at the Mount of Olives, he sent forth two of his disciples and said unto them, Go your way into the village over against you, and as soon as you enter into it, you'll find a colt tied that no man sat on. Loose him and bring him to me. If anyone says to you, what are you doing? Tell him that the Lord needs it, and straightway he will send him hither. And they went out their way and found the colt tied by the door without the place where two ways met. They loosed him, and the certain of them that stood there said to them, What are you doing? Loosing the colt. Why are you loosing the colt? And they said to him, even as Jesus commanded, and they let them go. And they brought the colt to Jesus and cast their garments on him, and he sat upon it. And many spread their garments in the way, and others cut down branches off the trees and strawed them in the way. And they that went before them and they that followed cried, saying, Hosanna, blessed is he that cometh in the name of the Lord. Blessed be the kingdom of our father David that cometh in the name of the Lord. Hosanna in the highest. And Jesus entered into Jerusalem and in the temple. And when he had looked around about it, he saw all things. And now the evening time was come. He went out unto Bethany with the 12. All right, so after arriving in Bethany, the morning of his triumphal entry, Jesus sends two disciples to Bethpage. He directs them to find an unbroken colt that no man has ridden. They were to untie it and bring it to him. If anyone asks, tell him the Lord needs it. And after finding it, he asserts his title as Lord. They bring the unbroken colt to Jesus, put a blanket on it, and Jesus shows his authority over all creation. If you've ever seen an unbroken colt or an unbroken horse, you know you don't just throw a blanket on it and go. It takes time to break a horse. Jesus shows his authority over creation in that. By divine appointment, God had dominion over creation. Jesus is now exercising that authority. Matthew, whenever he told the story, noted that it was a specific fulfillment of a messianic prophecy in both Isaiah and Zechariah. Whenever both of them wrote, Behold, the Lord hath proclaimed to the end of the world, say you to the daughters of Zion, Behold, thy salvation cometh. Behold, his reward is with him, and his work before him. Rejoice greatly, O daughters of Jerusalem. Shout, daughters of Jerusalem. Behold, thy king cometh. He is just and having salvation, lowly and riding upon a donkey, upon the colt, a foal of a donkey. And so that is the triumphal entry. And then verse 12 through 18 talks about Jesus' authority. And on the morrow, whenever they were come from Bethany, he was hungry. Seeing a fig tree afar off having leaves, he came, and haply he might find anything thereon. And when he came to it, he found nothing but leaves, for the time of the figs was not yet. And Jesus answered, said, No man eat fruit of thee hereafter forever. And his disciples heard it. And they came to Jerusalem, and Jesus went into the temple and began to cast out them that sold and bought in the temple, overthrew the tables of the money changers and the seat of them that sold doves, and would not suffer that any man should carry any vessel through the temple. And he taught, saying unto them, Is it not written, My house shall be called a house of all nations, the house of prayer? But you have made it a den of thieves. And the scribes and the chief priests heard it, and they sought how they could destroy him, for they feared him, because of all the people were astonished at his doctrine. So Jesus shows his authority on two occasions here. Number one, he curses the fig tree. Number two, he cleanses the temple. As they began their 2-mile journey from Bethany to Jerusalem, he was hungry. He saw a fig tree full of leaves, but he found no fruit on it. It had external evidence of being fruitful, but upon closer examination, it was barren and fruitless on the inside. Then in the temple, Jesus drove out those that were buying and selling. He was demonstrating his authority not only to cleanse, but to possess and safeguard what he called my house. When he said, My house shall be called a house of prayer. While religious leaders rejected him, they also feared him because the people accepted his teaching. And when the evening was come, he went out into the city, and in the morning, and they passed by, and they saw the fig tree that was dried up to the root. And Peter remembered the saying, and Master, behold, the fig tree which thou cursest is withered away. Jesus said, "Have faith in God, for verily I say unto you that whosoever shall say unto this mountain, be removed and cast into the sea, shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe all things are possible, which he saith shall come to pass, he shall have whatever he saith. Therefore I say unto you, whatsoever things you desire, when you pray, believe you will receive them, and you'll have it. And when you stand praying, forgive. If you have aught against thee, your Father which is in heaven may forgive your trespass, may trespass your may forgive you your trespasses. But if you do not forgive, neither will your Father which is in heaven forgive your trespass." The lesson Jesus is teaching is, though it looked good on the outside, it didn't produce. You have to have both. You have to have an inward and an outward sign of fruit and production. Whatever's on the inside is going to produce. You can look good on the outside, but if you're not right on the inside, it's not going to produce anything. And he cursed the fig tree because it did not produce. And then he says, if you have faith on the inside, you're going to have fruit on the outside. Anything you ask in prayer, believing, you're going to receive. And then he offers a lesson on forgiveness. If you forgive, God will forgive you. But if you don't forgive, God will not forgive you. Forgiveness is so important. Then in verse 24, we start with the proof of, so this lesson on forgiveness: if you don't forgive, God won't forgive you. Verse 27, Jesus' authority is questioned. "And they came again to Jerusalem, and as if he was walking in the temple, there came unto him the chief priests and the scribes and the elders, and said to him, By what authority do you do these things? And who gave you this authority to do these things? Jesus answered and said, I will also ask you a question. You answer me. The baptism of John, was it from heaven or men? Answer me." And they reasoned themselves, saying, If we say from heaven, he's going to say, Why didn't you believe? Because all men counted John as a prophet. And if we say of men, they're going to they feared the people, for all men counted John as a prophet. And they answered and said to Jesus, We cannot tell. And Jesus said to them, Neither do I tell you by what authority I do these things. So they challenged his authority. He refused to answer them. And Jesus begins to tell parables that made them want to destroy and kill him even more. And so we'll get into those parables tomorrow. So I hope that you enjoyed this Bible lesson today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.